So we're just going to be talking today about things about what happened in the last couple of weeks. I know it's been a pretty tragic, upsetting time with your mother dying. And Jennifer first went to live with her friends, and then we had to move her to foster care because they weren't able to keep her. Could you tell me what's happened to you the last couple of weeks?
Well, I mean, I lost my mom.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how much more do I have to say? You know, I mean, she was sort of my bedrock, and she always believed in me. Everybody else gave up on me, and she was always there for me. And I mean, I had pulled my stuff together,
Right.
and I just can't even imagine her not being here. So, you know, I went off and blew everything,
Yeah.
basically.
That's just, I haven't lost my mom, but I just know that losing somebody like that is so hard for everybody. And particularly someone who's,
You got a Kleenex.
oh yeah, right over here.
Thank you.
So,
Yeah. So what is, you know, what are we meeting about? What did you want?
well, I wanted to first check in with you about what's happening for you, so that we can figure out then what we're going to do with Jennifer and how to help her, because she's also really,
Yeah, how is she? What's
she's-
happening with her?
she's really sad too, very sad, as you would expect after living the last few years with her grandma. And she said she was a wonderful woman as a mother and as a grandma. And unfortunately, the family that her friends who took her in for a little while, they are not going to be able to keep her. So
Friends like that, right?
well, let's not judge them right now. The main thing is to think about what can we do for Jennifer. She's with the foster home, but she's got a lot of questions and a lot of grief that she's dealing with too.
What are her questions?
Well, she mainly wants to know about you right now. When I talk to her, she's like you. She wants to know what's happened to you. Can you tell me anything so I can share with her about what's happened to you?
I don't really want her to know.
Okay.
I mean, it's so much for a kid. I mean, I'm not a kid, and I can hardly handle it, you know. I mean, I started using again,
Okay.
lost the job I had held for a year, longest I've worked, and, you know, lost my apartment. So,
Wow.
bada bing, bada boom, you know. What do I say to her? Sorry, honey, you got no place to come home to,
Right.
you know. So, you know, I'm like a major loser right now. And
Let's not look at it that way. Let's look at what we can do for Jennifer. Right?
what do you think I could do for her at this point?
Well, first let's figure out what's happening for you. So, not unusual when somebody's had addiction problems that a major stress like this can cause a relapse. And so you said you were using.
Yeah, I kind of ended up. I mean, I tell you, I just don't know how to cope without my mom, and I just couldn't tolerate it, you know. Couldn't take it anymore. And I mean, I was right back to where I was before. It's like I was never clean. You know, it was like instantly I was right back where I was and lost all reason. And you know, I'm still struggling with it.
But what I do know, I've heard from the record from when we were with you before, and what you were just saying is that you've been sober for a whole year before this happened. And you're able to hold a job,
Yep.
get your own apartment.
Actually, I was sober more than a year. I held
Okay.
a job for a year.
You had the job for a year, so you've been sober for even longer than that.
Yep. It was closer to 2 years.
Wow,
Once I got an apartment, you know, and had something, it made it a little easier.
that's great. All right, so you made major changes in your life. How did that happen? What allowed you to be sober for over a year?
Well, you know, I knew Jennifer was doing great. I could see her as much as I wanted.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, I wasn't quite ready to take care of her, but I knew she was safe and with family. My mom was always there for me, and, you know, finally having her there and stabilized, I think, made it a little easier for me
All
to
right.
get serious about stuff. It wasn't like if I don't stop, she'll never come home. I mean, that is so hard.
Mm-hmm.
That pressure, that taking that away and knowing she was safe was one piece anyway.
All right. And you're able to see Jennifer regularly, and
Yeah, I mean, it was like my second home.
okay, great.
And she even stayed with me occasionally once I got my own place.
Uh-huh.
So it was really kind of great. And it's really kind of blowing all to pieces now.
But
You know?
that's normal. Do you know that? Did they talk about that in treatment with you ever? That sometimes the relapses happen. That your choice now is to go back into sobriety, like you've been able to do before, or do you stay back into the addiction process? It is not an either or. But if you
It's
had
not an either or?
no, it's not an either or. If you had your choice right now, what was better for you? When you were sober, or when you're using?
It was definitely better for me when I'm sober.
Okay.
I mean,
I ask it because sometimes that's not true.
really.
Yeah, sometimes that's not true for people. That's why some people keep using it. The drugs let them forget. Maybe like something like right now, they forget the pain of losing your mom. And that pain's so strong, they'd rather be in a drug haze than deal with what they have to deal with when they're sober. So,
Well, I mean, right now that might be the case. I mean, I can say when I was sober, life was better, but I had my mom then.
okay.
You
Yeah.
know, I mean, I had things that made it better that I don't have now.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I know I've got to stop again.
So in the last year or so that you've been sober, what have you been doing? Your mom was one part of it, not having the pressure about, CPS saying we're going to take your daughter away. You saw that Jennifer was being taken care of, got a job, a house, had all these great things. What else did you do that helped you stay sober?
I went to meetings.
You did go to meetings,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, and I got to know some people that I liked, and so, and I learned in meetings I had to really stay away from the people I would use with,
Mm-hmm.
so I've done that, of course, now that I'm homeless, I need a place to stay, and people I meet at meetings are not people that are going to let me live in their house.
Mm-hmm.
Those old friends will, so I have gone back to some of them.
Okay. So right now, while you're homeless, you're staying with some of your friends that...
Well, in between,
that are not.
like I'll do a shelter a few nights, but now and then I'll say, how about a couch tonight, and so if I spread it out, it makes life a little easier.
So one of the things, maybe a real immediate need you have is to find a good, clean, sober place to live.
Yeah.
Whether it's temporary, probably temporary till I get something long-term again, but
Is that something you could help me do?
that is something we could help you with. Because if you're sober and you're doing well, then it's going to be easier for you to help Jennifer. And that's our goal right now, is we all need to help Jennifer deal with the fact that she's had the same tragedy happen to her with losing your mom.
So tell me more about, you said she's very sad.
Mhm.
What is going on?
So she's walking through life. I would call it like ghost walking. She's in a new home. We have her in the same school that she was in with your mom. But she's not crying, but she's not, from what people tell me about Jennifer, because I'm just getting to know her, that this is not the normal, happy Jennifer. Again, pretty normal thing. It's kind of what we call a shock. She's like in shock right now about how much her life has changed.
Do you think we should see each other?
Absolutely. She needs you. She needs you very much.
Do I have to tell her what's going on?
Well, let's talk about what would be good for her.